إن كفرتم يومئذ يجعل الولدان سيبا السماء منفطر به كان وعده مفعولا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه وطائفة من الذين معك والله يقدر الليل والنهار علم أن لن تحصوه فتاب عليكم فاقرؤوا ما تيسر من القرآن علم أن سيكون منكم مرضى وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله وخيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم صدق الله العظيم.
Ahsan, Sayyid Muhammad. Say loud salawat for him, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, ala Muhammad. As I said, we have an honorable guest that Imam Sayyid Mustafa Ghazvini would like to invite him to the podium personally. Please welcome Imam Sayyid Mustafa Ghazvini and الی روح مرحومین از خانواده جهانشاهی و نیکنفس. فاتحه مع صلوات.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله جميعا وعلى سيدهم وخاتمهم حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان وإيمان إلى يوم الدين. My dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight I'm not going to speak. I'll postpone my energy for tomorrow, for the next 10 nights, especially tomorrow, Thursday and Saturday, which we're going to celebrate. Tomorrow is the second night of Qadr, Thursday, and Saturday is going to be the eve of the 23rd, which is the third night of Qadr. However, Layali al-Qadr, it could be any of the odd nights during the last 10. So 25th, 27th and 29th. So make sure that you continue your supplications, your prayers, your du'as, your charities and your good deeds. Today we have an honorable guest among us. His name is Jihad Turk, Ustad Jihad or Imam Jihad Turk. He is the president of Bayan Claremont Islamic Graduate School in Claremont. And this is a newly established institution and a very vibrant institution, very active. And he is going to introduce us to this important institution that we all need in North America, in the West. God has blessed us with mosques, Islamic centers, schools, mortuaries, libraries, other institutions, but so far we did not have a college, an accredited college or university or school. And this is the only graduate school in the nation, Islamic graduate accredited school in the nation, the very first one. And it is very successful. And because I believe in its cause, I'm not just advocating it for others. Because I believe in this cause, I encouraged my two sons, Sayyid Hadi and Sayyid Mehdi, to go and study there. Many of you maybe know, or you may not know that. They did their master degrees at Bayan Claremont Graduate School. And we need these institutions, my friends. If we are about to present Islam outside the box, for others, and this is what we must do in this country. And I wrote this in one of my books, which I think I am going to grab it from here. This is a book that I've written, it was published about a month ago, about introducing Islam, how we should introduce Islam to non-Muslims in this country. What are the manners, the art of da'wah, and the principles of da'wah in America. It's very vital for us that we don't keep Islam within our own boundaries, our own circles and communities. We have to get this religion to others. We live here. The number of the Muslims is not small in this continent. It is on the rise day by day. We have new immigrants. We have newly born children of the immigrants. And therefore Islam has to expand. And Islam has to reach others. They need to know it from you, from the Muslims. And this is exactly what God says in this book. وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. Minkum. Let be a group of you, يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ, who propagate for goodness. وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. They enjoin good. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. And they forbid evil. From among yourselves, let a community stand and take this responsibility. And now, alhamdulillah, we have these institutions. We have to help them. We have to help them. If your children are smart, then send them to Bayan graduate school. I know many of us, we are sending our kids to law school, which is good. Medical school is good. Engineering school, journalism, all of them are good. But also, we have to nurture and groom leaders in this country. We need Muslim leaders, and they have some good programs to nurture and prepare Muslim leaders who can be leaders in their communities, leader among the Muslims and non-Muslims. Imam Jihad previously was the Imam at the Islamic Center of Southern California, which was established by the late Hathout brothers, Dr. Mahir, Dr. Hassan, rahmatullah alayhim, and Dr. Fathi Uthman, Dr. Umar al-Alfi. All those people have passed. But the mission is continuing. Noble missions does not end when the leader dies. There are other leaders who come, who carry the baton. And then after us, our generation, another generation would come. We are not staying here. Many times I said these buildings would stand maybe for another 50 years, 80 years, 200 years. We go. And we have to prepare the other generation to take up this responsibility. We have to encourage them. Islam should not end when we go. Islam should continue, and this is exactly what God says about Islam. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انْقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِكُمْ. Muhammad was a messenger of God, noble, we love him. But when Muhammad died, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the mission did not stop. The mission has to continue. Therefore, we need these institutions. Please, those of you who are listening to me, those mothers and fathers who love their religion, who love Islam, who love to see Islam flourishing in this country, then listen to what Brother Jihad is going to mention, Ustad Jihad, and encourage your children, your loved ones, your cousins, your friends to attend these institutions, because we need more good leaders, not just leaders, good leaders. Leaders who do good for Islam. Leaders who understand Islam first and foremost. Their understanding of Islam is healthy, is good, and then they can transfer this understanding to the masses in this country. So we welcome Brother Jihad, Hajj Shamsuddin. If sisters do not want to listen, they are free, but they should not encroach on our rights, please. Khanum ha ya Aziz. By the way, Jihad, he's fluent in Farsi, huh? Jihad, Ustad Jihad, he spent 1 year in Qom studying Persian language and literature. So be careful when you speak when you are around him, huh? Yeah. So we welcome him, with a loud salawat for Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad. Ammar, take that. Just give them a minute, let them the mic.
And do the projector this.
السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد.
Oh, yeah. You need to bring it more this. Yeah. You need to bring it more here. Okay, give it to me.
Very good.
Okay, you are on.
I'm going to need the sound also for this. I have a video I want to play.
You need, oh, the sound? Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Video.
I'll do it later. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I wanted to first of all thank my dear friend Sayyid Mustafa Qazwini for the invitation to come and speak to all of you this evening. I want to start with a story. So I had moved to Los Angeles in 1999 to pursue my PhD at UCLA in Islamic Studies. Because when I was a teenager, I was born in 1971. When I was growing up in high school, my mother's Christian American, my father's Palestinian from Jerusalem. And when I was growing up, I had to make a decision at some point which way I'm going to follow, the tradition of my mother, the tradition of my father. And my father, who immigrated to the United States in 1956 as a teenager himself, he didn't have a lot of knowledge about Islam to pass on to me. But he was practicing. He did his prayers, but he didn't have much information to give me that was satisfying to me when I began my spiritual journey. So I began by wanting to read books and understand about Islam and Christianity, and I quickly found myself more interested in Islam than Christianity, primarily because Islamic theology is so simple. It makes sense to the mind and to the heart. And so I began wanting to learn more and more, but even though my father's Arab, I didn't grow up speaking Arabic. So the first thing I did in college is I withdrew from my engineering studies after my freshman year, and I traveled abroad and I studied Arabic. And then I came back and I began to pursue my degree in Islamic history at Berkeley, and I said I need more, I need to learn some Farsi. So I took another year off and I studied at the University of Tehran and some months in Qom, and picked up some Farsi, so shab khair. And then I came back and finished my degree in Islamic history and Arabic at Berkeley, went to UT Austin for my master's degree, and came out here in 1999 to do my doctoral degree in Islamic studies. And while I was here, here in Southern California, very entrenched in academia, my goal was, because I found something very beautiful when I learned Arabic, I could access the Quran, I could see the sources, the philosophy, the theology of Islam. I said, there's something beautiful here. I want to come back and go into academia so I can teach Islam to Muslim students who are engineering or doctoral students or other medical students or other professions, teach them about Islam as one of their electives, but also present Islam in a way that is accessible to non-Muslims. So I began my academic pursuits for that reason. But in 2005, I was approached by the Islamic Center of Southern California, And they said, we want you to apply to the position as religious director or imam. And I said, well, I'm an academic, I want to go on to academia. They said, well, but we want you to be able to lead our community because you can relate to the youth, and you can literally and figuratively speak the languages of our community. So I said, okay, well, I was teaching also as adjunct at UCLA, and I said, as long as I can continue to pursue academia, I'll give it a try. So I started out in the position in 2005, and I have to tell you, I found it very rewarding. It was very rewarding connecting with the youth, also engaged in interfaith relations, and it was fulfilling to my heart. I was attached to the masjid and to the community. It was beautiful. And I continued for 7 years in this position while teaching at UCLA and doing my doctoral work and teaching Islamic law, Sharia, which is a scary word these days, but it's not so scary as we know it, at a law school, teaching a course once in a while at USC. So I had my foot in both worlds of academia and in religious leadership. And everything was going great. I have my wife, I have 4 kids, life is great, very busy. But then all of a sudden one day, I was approached by the president of a 130-year-old Christian seminary, Dr. Jerry Campbell. He came to me, he says, I've been following what you're doing, I need your help. I said, oh, how can I help you? He said, I'm the new president of this 130-year-old Christian seminary. They're Methodist. It's a kind of Christianity, Protestant. And he said, I was brought on to revitalize this institution because the number of Christian seminary students in the United States is declining. It's declining so rapidly that many seminaries across the United States are closing down. So they brought me on to come up with a way to revitalize, reinvigorate this institution. And I've been working on it for a few years. I think I have a solution, but I need your help. I said, what's your solution? He said, I want to make Christianity relevant again for Christians by reclaiming the role for religion to be a force for good and peacemaking and conflict resolution in the world. And I want to do so by partnering with a Muslim graduate seminary and a Jewish seminary and a Buddhist university so that we can know our own religion but also know each other, find the common ground, and build a better tomorrow on that common ground. I said, wow, that's a beautiful vision. I said, how can I help? He said, I need you to help me identify a Muslim graduate seminary to partner with. I said, that's easy. There isn't any for you to partner with, but we need one. We have over 2,500 masajid here in the United States. Less than half have a full-time imam. 44% of the imams were born, 93% of the imams were born, raised, and educated outside of the United States, which might mean that they bring authentic knowledge, but it also means that they are challenged in presenting that knowledge in a way that is relevant to the youth, that is civically engaged and engaged in interfaith relations, and is meaningful to the community, the diverse communities that are here in the United States. What we learn back home in seminaries, and maybe in Qom it's a little bit better than you find in the Sunni seminaries, but they don't teach you leadership. They teach you knowledge, to memorize things, and how to act like a sheikh, like you know it all, but they don't actually teach you how to be a leader, how to lead a community, how to counsel a young person, how to help your community become civically engaged in civic, and be a civic partner to improve the society in which you live. So having that experience as a religious leader on the one hand and the academics on the other hand, I said, you know, we need an Islamic seminary, and this is my 2 areas of expertise. I think I can get the Islamic Center and other communities here in Southern California to support the idea of creating one. This is in 2009. So we worked on it for a few years, and some of the people that you had mentioned, my mentors who had passed from the Islamic Center, Dr. Omar Elfi, who just passed away last week, Dr. Meher Hatoud, and others, they said, let's do this. This is the most exciting thing to happen to our community the last 25 years. So we launched with an idea. We announced it in 2010, and we began the first master's degree in MA in religion. So it's an academic degree with a focus on Islamic studies and leadership. We began our first class in 2011. We've now graduated 5 classes of graduates. 2 of those classes had Qazwinis in them this last year and 3 years ago. And our graduates are gone on to serve as imams, as academics, going on to PhDs, many of them, to serve as Islamic school principals and teachers, university chaplains, prison chaplains, leaders who are serving the community and doing a fantastic job. So what I wanted to share with you today is the story of Bayan, which you heard its inception, but I want to share with you some of the details. First of all, as Sayyid Mustafa indicated at the beginning, we have some big needs as an American Muslim community. So I want to ask this question, and this is interactive, so I need your help. What are the three biggest needs of the American Muslim community as you see it? What's that? We need to better represent our community to government and the media and society. Better representation. Beautiful. What else? All right, education. We need to better understand our religion, knowledge. We need to better understand our religion and pass it on to the youth. Yes. We need good journalists, people who can represent our story in our own words instead of being spoken about by others. We need to tell it in our own words. We need to empower the community to be the representatives of our faith. Yes. We need to empower women. I love it. I love it. And by the way, this community is empowering of women. And so many communities I speak to, women are behind a wall, up in an attic or in a basement somewhere, coming through a different door. So alhamdulillah, this community, you have some room for growth, but you're way ahead of many other communities. I'll just tell you that right up front. What's that? Civic engagement. All right, very good. And as Sayyid Mustafa said, we also need better leaders. So here's the breakdown. Better leaders who can do a good job of knowing our religion and passing it on. We have to be relevant for our youth. So we need youth directors and university chaplains who can now pass on the faith to our youth and represent our community more effectively. And we need to change the perception through media, through civic engagement, government relations, knowing our neighbors. We need to empower the Muslim community to represent Islam in our own words. So we developed this graduate school to address those three needs. Our vision is a big vision, a world that understands Islamic values in a modern context. And so, some quick facts about the university, and I'll connect it back to those three big needs in just a moment. We started with only 3 students back in 2011. We offer accredited master's degrees and certificates. We operated as a division, independent division, but a division nonetheless, of a 132-year-old Christian seminary. We've now admitted over 100 students and graduated 11, and we obtained a 501c3 many years ago. So this is our enrollment trend. We are, alhamdulillah, growing every year. We're expecting to have over 80 students by the fall. And the enrollment period goes all the way through the end of July, so if you're still interested in enrolling to become an imam, a youth director, a nonprofit executive, an Islamic school principal or teacher, a university chaplain, a social entrepreneur, an academic in the study of Islam, you still have a chance to enroll. The 3 degrees that we offer, even though we started with the one in Islamic, in religion, Islamic studies and leadership, we started 2 new degrees last year, 1 year ago. An MA in Islamic education, because we have over 35,000 students in full-time Islamic schools around the country. We don't have a degree in Islamic studies education in this country. We ran 4 at the Islamic Center of Southern California, over 800 students through the New Horizons school system. When I was the imam there, I was in charge of interviewing the Islamic studies teachers, the applicants for the position, whenever there was an opening. And I'm sorry to say there weren't qualified applicants. Only one time did we have, in all of those years, an applicant for the position of Islamic studies teacher that was actually qualified. Everyone else was less than qualified. They needed some additional support. So we have a big need here. And that's just at the New Horizons School, let alone all of the other about 300 full-time Islamic schools across the country. And then we have also an Islamic chaplaincy degree to produce chaplains who can serve in the military, hospitals, prisons, and importantly, universities. Because when we send our kids away to the university, to have a chaplain there who can put on programming that helps them in the shaping of their American Muslim identity, as opposed to going off the tracks and following other temptations in college. And for those who have kids who go off to college, it's a scary proposition, because you don't know what college life is what direction it's going to take them. But to send them to a college that has a Muslim chaplain is a blessing. I got contacted by Harvard, by Stanford. They're hiring Muslim chaplains. They just hired one at the Claremont colleges last year. Princeton has a full-time Muslim chaplain. So chaplaincy is an up-and-coming career that really is of great benefit to the Muslims around the country. Public schools can't do it, but private schools are oftentimes doing it now. We have important courses. So some of you might be asking, is this a Sunni project? As you heard in my background, I studied both at the heart of Wahhabi Islam. That's where I learned my Arabic at the Islamic University in Medina. But I augmented my education by going to the seat of Shi'i learning. I went to Qom, and I learned Farsi, and I did some Shi'i studies as well. Because the story that is told against the Shi'i by the Sunni is a crime. It's a crime to our faith when we, for political reasons, do what's called takfir, where we call each other non-Muslim, that we're unbelievers. This is a crime. This is a sin, because we don't know each other. So we said we are not going to allow the geopolitics overseas to spill over into our borders. I'm a signatory along with Sayyid Mustafa on a document 15 more years ago, this pact, this agreement that we would not vilify, demonize one another in this country, that we would pray together, that we would pray behind one another, that we acknowledge that we're Muslim, and we wouldn't allow anti-Sunni, anti-Shi'i literature in our respective houses of worship. So this institution is an institution that is mainstream and big tent. Sunni, Shi'i, Sufi, we're all in this together. And we have faculty that are Sunni, Shi'i, Sufi, all together, students across the board, every ethnicity, every race. And so you can see some of the courses are traditional courses of the Quran and the seerah and philosophy, theology, fiqh, etc., but also Sunni Shi'i relations. The course was taught by Sayyid Hadi Qazwini. It's taught by Professor Mavani, Hamid Mavani. It's taught also other courses in the field taught by a Shi'i professor from UT Austin, Cameron Aghai, who did his PhD here at UCLA many years ago. So these are important courses. Majority of the students are Sunni. They benefit the most. As a minority community, the Shi'i are misunderstood the most. And so it's most important for us to have courses like this for the Sunni students so that there's a better understanding. I remember the very first day of class, maybe 5-6 years ago, we had the orientation day, and Sayyid Hadi was amongst the students. There were 20, 30 some students. So we were having lunch together. It came time for the prayer. So we prayed the Dhuhr together. I led the prayer. Sayyid Hadi prayed behind me in the ranks with everyone else. After the prayer, I turned around and I pointed at him. I said, Sayyid Hadi, you're a Shi'i. Everyone looked at him, and he looked surprised. I said, and you prayed with us? He said, yeah. I said, teach us. How do Shi'i Muslims pray? So he explained prayer. Everyone was listening. He said, oh, that's almost the same as the way we pray. They had an imagination. I said, how many of you have ever met a Shi'i before? Maybe 5, 6 had never knowingly met a Shi'i before. I said, how many of you have prayed with a Shi'i before? You know, hardly anyone raised their hand. I said, this is the way we do things here at Bayan. We come together and we understand each other, we love each other, and we agree and disagree on things. But this is an important part of the culture that we have at Bayan Claremont. We have courses on leadership, public speaking, how to give a public talk to a Jewish community or a Christian community or a media interview. We trained the imams on how to engage with the media. Someone said we need better communication. We need our imams to be prepared to represent us. Because when something happens locally, and something always happens locally, they come to the mosque. What's going on? What does your community think about this, that, or the other thing? When your imam can represent you in an effective way, it changes the narrative. People can relate to your community because your spokesperson, your imam, your leader, your public PR person can tell the story in a way that connects with those who are watching. So we have courses on public speaking, how to give a good khutbah as well. Although you have great khatibs here. Not every masjid is blessed with those great khatibs. We have courses on nonprofit management, leadership, counseling Muslim, marriage and family ethics. We have courses on for educators and for chaplains as well. All right, now here's the best part. We are able to curate, to teach our courses, established Muslim academics from the most elite U.S. institutions. We have faculty, 2 from Yale. We have a chair of Islamic studies at Duke. We have a professor from Stanford, a professor from Berkeley, a professor from Georgetown. We have professors from Wisconsin, Texas, Chicago, USC. We have really the leading Muslim faculty in the country who are teaching at our institutions. And they do it in a way that's only 2 weeks a semester in person, the rest is online. And in those 2 weeks, 2/3 of the whole semester's education is offered. The lectures, 2/3 of the lectures of the whole semester are offered in a 2-week period. 120 hours of lecture, 10 hours a day for 12 days. It's intensive, but it works. We've done it for 3 years now. And our students love it. So here's how we do it.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Fuad Abadi with Bayan Claremont. Let's talk about Bayan's hybrid intensive track. Our objective was clear. We wanted to create an accessible format for people living and working across the United States or around the world to be able to complete a graduate degree and expand their Islamic knowledge by studying with world-class Muslim scholars and ulama. What we came up with is Bayan's hybrid intensive format. Here's how it works. Each semester is 16 weeks long. 1/3 of Bayan's class meetings are online and spread out throughout the semester. 2/3 of the instruction is face-to-face on Bayan's campus, condensed into only 6 intensive days, 5 hours per day per course. 2 courses meet during week 4 of the semester, and 2 meet during week 5. Enroll in 4 courses per semester offered in this intensive format, and you'll be on track to graduate within 2 academic years. So you don't need to quit your job and relocate to complete your degree. Come out to sunny Southern California only 2 weeks per semester for the in-person class sessions, and continue to work and serve your community for the remainder of the semester during the online portion of the courses. This is a unique opportunity to develop relationships with your professors and your classmates, both in and out of the classroom, and to grow in your faith and in your knowledge. That's it. Hope to see you soon.
All right, so I wanted to quickly go through a little bit more information about the university before concluding and show you 2 videos of our graduates, just to give you a sense on what our graduates learn and what they go on to do when they graduate. Arabic language is an essential part of the program, but Arabic doesn't fit into that format. So we developed a unique 4-credit, fully online Arabic language program where you study in a virtual classroom with the faculty member, synchronous at night, twice a week in the evenings, and you follow along and you do the homework online and submit everything online. It works. It's a great program. I recommend it. We made it available to community members if you want to enroll in the fall. You can look forward to doing that at the end of August is when the next class begins. It's 4 levels, 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. Our graduates go on to these various careers that I talked about before. We have fantastic students and graduates who are going on to do great things. We have, of course, Said Hadi, for example. I don't know if you know, but he's doing his PhD at USC in Islamic Studies. Now, there's a very prestigious program there led by a world-renowned scholar, Abdul Hakim Jackson, or Sherman Jackson. And Professor Sherman Jackson was brought to USC to be the chair of Islamic Studies there, and he started with just a master's degree. He's building up a program. Last year, or 2 years ago, he started the PhD program. The first time in the history of USC, he started a PhD program in Islamic Studies. Everyone wanted to do this doctoral degrees program with him. So he had a lot of applicants. He only admitted 1 student, the top student. That student was none other than Sayyid Hadi Qazwini. He graduated from our program, and that prepared him with the foundation in Islamic studies to be accepted into that program. The first and only PhD admit to that program 2 years ago. So he's not only serving along with his father here, but he's doing his PhD so he can go on to become a professor of Islamic studies, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And then also we have this gentleman here, Jihad Safir. I'm going to show you a video about him. We have this woman here, she's a lawyer in the middle, Fatima Valentina Khan. She's half Persian, half Pakistani. She's half Sunni, half Shi'i. She calls herself Sunni and Shi'i. She's serving as executive director of a philanthropic organization here in Newport Beach. Okay, she's here as well. So she's doing her grandmother's here, mashallah. We're very proud of her. We're very proud of Valentina. So she's serving, she's a lawyer, but she's serving as an executive director of a philanthropic organization here in Newport Beach. We have the other woman who's doing her PhD in Islamic studies, and we have there an imam, Harmoush, and we have the assistant imam in Fresno at a Shi'i community. Raza is serving the community in Fresno. What's the name? This is where your brother, Islamic Cultural Center of Fresno, right? Very good. We also have the Latino imam. I'm going to show you a short video about him. We have a Turkish imam, and then here we have this guy. 68 years old, he graduated from our program. 68 years old. He graduated our program even though he already has a job. His kids already have gone through college. He's an older guy, but he said, I wanted to come and do something special. I serve in Oakland, California, in the prison system as an imam, as a chaplain, as an imam or a chaplain in the prison system. He said, people are flocking to Islam in prison. They see Islam as something that can help transform their character and their life, and they embrace the religion in prison. And then they get out, and they're adrift. They get pulled back into a life of crime or drugs or alcohol or other things. He said, it's my goal to create the first in the country Muslim halfway house. A Muslim house that is a transition when they come out of prison to help them acclimate back into free society as contributing members to the society. He said, I talked to him a couple months ago, he said, I met with 100 ex-convicts who had done 20 plus years each in prison. 100 formerly incarcerated. And I said, his name is Abdurraouf Nasser. I said, Abdurraouf, I have a question. How many of those violent, criminals were Muslim when they went into prison, and how many of them embraced Islam in prison? He said over 95 of the 100, so 95% of them embraced Islam in prison. SubhanAllah. These people are transforming their lives, and he wants to create that halfway house, and Bayan is giving him the foundation and the leadership skills and the credential to help him succeed in doing that. So may Allah bless him in that. We have Sundus Khuluqi. She was the president of the Islamic Center in Irvine before. Now she's working with the evangelical community to educate them about Islam. So she started a group with an evangelical pastor's daughter called Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, but M-I-S-S, understanding, where the two women go and they correct misunderstandings with correct understanding about Islam, and they get to know one another, and they bring the communities together. The evangelical community, if you weren't paying attention to the news, voted overwhelmingly for the current president. 81% of evangelicals voted for the current administration. So there's a lot of educating to do about Islam and Muslims, because there's tremendous fear and mistrust there. So we also have educators who are doing a great job. There's an imam from Ohio, he's doing a great job. So here is the story of Jihad Safir. It's a 4.5-minute video.
It's funny, I used to type my father's notes, but I never recall, even thinking to myself that this is what I wanted to do professionally, this is what I wanted to do as a career, this is what I wanted to spend my life in studying, so something happened and I'm here now. Allah knows best. I was kind of directed towards the text, the Quran. I all of a sudden wanted to memorize the Quran. I wanted to learn more about the Arabic language, and you know, I'm here. My name is Jihad Safir, and I was born and raised in Pasadena, California. My father, he, with other members of the community, they founded Masjid Ibadullah, which is located in South Los Angeles. Eventually, I was elected the imam at that particular masjid. My father, he, you know, became ill, but he's there still supporting. I would listen to him and give the khutbah. He gave me a lot of training. And now he listens to me and continues to give me training and give me advice. We have a school called Islah Academy. We do social services. We have a food pantry. We do prison reentry under Islah LA. And we have a brand new masjid being built under Masjid Ibadullah. We hold Salatul Jumu'ah every Friday. We have school in session, pre-K through 7th grade. We have weekend courses in which we teach the Arabic language, fiqh, and it's a learning center in the middle of the hood, or in South Los Angeles. And you know, it's a beautiful community. People have come to the community, and they fall in love with the environment. Bayan, I first came to the orientation. I was looking for a program. I was on my way to finishing my BA in Arabic Studies. So I knew that I had to continue. I knew that wasn't enough. Of course, I thought that the program was, you know, kind of expensive. I didn't want to take out any loans, so I think I was looking at some colleges in Malaysia or something. And I was on my way thinking about going overseas, and I got a phone call from Bayan saying that you know, they would support me going to their program. So, beautiful opportunity. I'll never forget the day. I listened to my voicemail on the day of the Eid, and the most beautiful Eid gift that I could receive. I entered into Bayan during its first year, taking classes in conflict resolution, how to run a nonprofit. The imam can't learn this from, you know, for example, your sheikh being in an interfaith setting that allows you to broaden some of your views. Not only that, there was individuals who have studied texts from the Shafi'i tradition or the Hanbali tradition, so on and so forth. So you learn and you gather information from each other, being in that diverse classroom. I think with every learning experience, the biggest thing perhaps you can learn is how much you don't know. Bayan provided that particular environment. Sitting in the classrooms, exchanging ideas with people, looking at the traditional text and the more contemporary text, you realize how much knowledge is out there. So Bayan was there as that stair step for me to continue on this journey of seeking knowledge.
So he's also doing his PhD at Claremont School of Theology. And he said it quickly, but he said three things. He said since he graduated, he founded an Islamic school, full-time Islamic school. So he's the founder of that, number one. Number two, he took his father's storefront mosque, which was started in 1978, was able to raise $1.6 million and build a proper masjid and buy property in the heart of South Central Los Angeles. And number three is, he said he's doing prison reentry. You didn't even recognize it, he said it so quickly. Prison reentry is like the other, the 68-year-old guy who's doing. He wants to help people who've embraced Islam in prison to find jobs and to reintegrate into society. It's not a full halfway house, but it is some assistance to those who've embraced Islam to find their way into contributing to society when they get out. So he's a dynamic social entrepreneur, a dynamic leader who's serving his community, building the community and representing Islam to the society. One other thing that he did is he started a food pantry that serves 500 families in the neighborhood every single Saturday. So he's helping the neighborhood, non-Muslims, who come to the masjid to receive food every Saturday, 500 families. So this is just one of our graduates, but you get a sense of the kind of leaders that they become. Next, this is a Latino imam.
name is Cesar Dominguez. I was born here in California. I'm Mexican. Most of my life I live in Mexico. I have been Muslim for the past 10 years. My first encounter with Islam took place in Egypt 11 years ago, and I found a richness of tradition. And when I first began to learn about Islam, something resonated in my heart that I was not expecting, in the sense that there was an instant connection that went beyond just curiosity. And that's how I began to learn more. But there was certainly a gap. There was a language barrier, there was a culture barrier. So I returned from Egypt and I began to study about Islam. I was very fortunate to witness the conception of Bayan. My 2 years at Bayan in the Islamic Studies and Leadership program has been an incredibly rich experience. From day one, I realized that I was not only a student, but whether I knew it or not, whether I wanted it or not, I was a leader in progress. On the one hand, my classes on Islamic philosophy, Islamic law, Islamic spirituality gave me that formal foundation. On the other hand, the classes at Bayan that I took on public speaking, on counseling Muslims, on Islamic leadership, community organizing, made me realize how much I can do in order to serve my community. Here at Bayan, you not only learn about Islam, past and present and future, but how to connect Islam to the rest of the world.
So since he graduated, he was given a full tuition scholarship to Al-Azhar University by the rector of Al-Azhar. He just came back last Saturday, and he's serving as the imam for the Latino community. It's a very fast-growing community here in Los Angeles called LALMA, which in Spanish means the soul, but it stands for Los Angeles Latino Muslim Association. So he's fantastic, and he just got an offer to serve as the chaplain for Loyola Marymount University. So, I mean, it's fantastic what our graduates are going on to do. So, I want to be respectful of your time. There's more I wanted to present, but let me do this just as by way of getting to the of closing. I'm going to skip the last video. Said Hadi now is on our board of trustees. We have a 50-year vision. We want to have our own medical school, law school, business school. You know, we have a big vision 50 years down the road. You know, we have a short-term vision of wanting to grow our student body to over 200. We're about 80 this coming year. So we're continuing to grow. You can take courses online. You can learn more about us. But let me just do this. One last thing. The boxer Muhammad Ali. So I knew him personally, and in fact, I was asked by him and his wife Lonnie to be a witness on his wasiyah, his last will and testament. 13 years ago. So I got to know him then. Great guy, taught me some magic tricks, took some pictures with me, you know, boxing, all of that. When he passed away 1 year ago, I reached out some months later to his widow, Lonnie Ali, who's a convert as well. And I said, Lonnie, you sold his name and rights to a Western company that's not going to have anything to do with his faith and that legacy. I said, what about Bayan carrying on his legacy by offering full tuition scholarships in his name to imams working in underserved communities, primarily African American or Latino communities? So she got the whole family together, the Ali Center, there's a museum there in his honor in Louisville, Kentucky. She got the leadership there, and they all agreed. So 3 months ago, we announced the Muhammad Ali Scholarship Fund. We didn't ask them for money. We're raising the money, but we're providing this. So very exciting announcement. Now we have a whole slew of African American imams, and there's I think a Latino imam that are going to be joining Bayan this coming year, and many of them will be receiving this scholarship. So there's more to say, but let me just conclude by saying this. That if you want to learn more, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone. This is not being recorded for the YouTube. So is it on there? You can see it? Uh-oh. No, it's on me, isn't it? It's not on there. Okay, good. All right, so I'm not going to say it out loud, but this is my personal phone. No, don't change it. All right, thank you. This is my personal cell phone. If you want, you can text me your name and email. We'll put you on the email list. And I'll send you the link for the university, and you can learn more about us. And we have videos online. We have content information. We have seminars, etc. So before I leave you, I just wanted to see if there were any questions that you might have for me this evening about the university. Yes. The prerequisites is that you have an accredited bachelor's degree in any subject. You don't have to know Arabic. We teach it to you when you come in. So men, women, we have almost equal number of men and male and female students. We have about 60% male now, but the women are catching up. So we're going to be even, inshallah, in the next couple of years. What's that? Yeah, you can have a bachelor's degree from anywhere. So, for example, Sayyid Mahdi had his credential from Qom, and he was accepted into the university. So we have we can accept foreign students and credentials from outside the United States. Yes. Yes. So we have, first of all, we have a chairwoman of our board. The chair of our academic committee is a woman. We have about a third of our faculty are women. We have a woman who's teaching the fiqh class, a woman who's teaching one of the counseling classes, a woman who's teaching the course on Islam in America, a woman who's teaching the course on conflict resolution. So many. We have so many women faculty. So the perspective is there from the women themselves, number one. But number two, like I said, we are mainstream and big tent. So we have the faculty who bring their perspective and the students who bring their perspective, and it's not dogmatic. We don't say this is the only one way, but we have a very engaging conversation amongst the faculty and students on all kinds of issues, including gender issues. We have a course on family, gender, and ethics as well, taught by a woman, by the way. So women, the role of women, it's not men talking about the role of women, it's women who are the faculty, that are head of the academic committee, that are head of the board, who are leading the conversation. You know, it's funny, I went to Turkey one time after we established the university. I know Arabic, I know Farsi, man Farsi baladam, man Arabi balada. Wali Turkey balad nista. I went to Turkey and I discovered that the word bayan means woman in Turkish. So I don't know if that was they said, is this a women's college? I said, no, why do you ask? And then I saw over the men's restroom bay and the women's restroom bayan. I said, oh, okay, now I get it. So, all right, any other questions? Yes? Well, we have 3 master's degrees, so you have a required set of courses for each degree that are different. The electives, we limit the electives just for efficiency's sake, so a lot of the courses overlap, either because some of the core courses overlap or because many of the elective courses overlap. So, you know, a course on the Quran overlaps in all of the degrees. A course on the study of the biography of the Prophet, the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that overlaps. The fiqh course or the philosophy course also overlaps, but then courses in Islamic pedagogy, which is an educational course, or chaplaincy and context, those are specific to the other degrees and don't overlap amongst all the students. You can get a certificate by taking only 4 courses, in Islamic studies, in chaplaincy, or in education, and those courses are specific to those fields. And again, it's designed for working professionals. You don't have to give up your job or relocate. Only 2 weeks a semester if you're full-time, or 1 week a semester if you're half-time or just taking 1 course. The rest is online. So if you want to take a particular course, you can enroll in that 1 course, and it only takes you 6 days in person, and the whole semester, the rest of the semester is online. So we make it accessible for people who have jobs. We have people who are engineers around the country. They come out They take their vacation time and they come out and study from Austin, Texas, from other parts of the country. Yeah. Yeah, the admissions process, the application deadline is not until August 1st. So you can apply all the way through July. You have to have all your transcripts and the application complete. It's all online. You know, there's no GRE required for the master's degree. When we have the PhD, inshallah, it will be required, but not for the master's. So all you need is a bachelor's degree, a personal statement, 3 letters of recommendation, and your transcripts, and that's it. And you can apply within, finish application within a day or two, if you're efficient, and you can get accepted by the end of August or the middle of August and start at the end of August. So you can still apply now. Yeah. So the tuition is about $21,000 a year. We offer about 35% scholarship, so it ends up being about $14,000 per year. You get the whole degree in 2 years, $28,000 out of pocket. So it's very cost effective. I mean, the Claremont Graduate University across the street, their tuition is over $40,000 a year. So we're very, very affordable. And we encourage, if you are part of serving a community, we encourage the community to invest in your professional development, because they see the dividends, the return on the investment, and how you're serving as a teacher or as an imam, a youth director. They see the benefit of this kind of high-level education in the service of the community. All right, well, you've been very gracious with your time. I feel very honored and blessed to have been invited here. My friendship and my admiration for your leader, Sayyid Mustafa Qazwini, goes back 15 plus years, 17 years. When I first came to the Islamic Center, we reached out to him and we gave him a Peace Award for the leadership, the incredible leadership he was exemplifying at those crucial years, especially after 9/11. His voice now, till today, we encounter each other as much within the Muslim community as we do in City Hall and in other public and civic forums, where he is a voice that people turn to for guidance, for condolence after a tragedy, for inspiration, and for hope. So I'm blessed to be a good friend. I consider myself a good friend of yours, or you to be at least a good friend of mine. I don't know how you consider me, but I feel very blessed to be here today. Jazakumullahu khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.